Hello, everybody out there in Radio Land. I'm a semi-professional DJ here working on SiriusXM 80s on 8. And today we have, this morning, whenever you're listening to it, have a very special broadcast. This is my dear friend, Brett Tuggle, or as we knew him, Tuggy, or Tug. He was a keyboard player and dear friend of mine for about 30 years. Played with a lot of amazing bands, led a great life, great musical life, and left a lot of people in tears when he passed away a few days ago. And I wanted to do a tribute to that great man because he was a great man. And hopefully now his spirit is flying with all the other great spirits out there that have passed before him. A couple of things Tuggy and I had in common. One was our love of music. Two was our love of, specifically, the Beatles. And three, our love of women. An ex-girlfriend of Tug's actually said there was never enough of Brett to go round. Tuggy loved women. I mean, truly, truly loved women. And they loved him. And it was, he was my wingman all through the 80s, actually, when we were on the road. It was Tug and me out there trying to spread the love, as it were. An amazing musician. He was a keyboard player and a guitar player. And plus, his greatest asset, not only was a great human being, but his voice. He had the most incredible vocal range. So anyway, we're going to start with Tug's writing. Tuggy played with a lot of great players after me, a lot of great musicians, did a lot of touring with some great bands. And this was the biggest hit, I think the second biggest hit that David Lee Roth ever had. And to me, it's the best song he ever had because Tug wrote the chorus. And if you know Tug, which I certainly did, and a lot of lucky people did, this chorus of this song is absolutely 100% Brett Tuggle. And the verse, obviously, you can hear it and go, oh yeah, that's David Lee Roth, all right. But the chorus is so Tug, and this was a giant hit for Roth, and was also featured in the movie and the play, what's it called? Very heavily featured in Rock of Ages, and was just it's a great tribute to Tug's writing. This is from 1988. I mean, I guess we've got to play music, and I can't just talk about my great friend Tug for the whole damn show. But anyway, this is Tug and David Lee Roth co-composition, Just Like Paradise from 1988. This is a special tribute to Brett Tuggle. I am working class DJ, 80s on 8, Rick Springfield. And this is Just Like Paradise. Yeah, so Tug was out with David Lee Roth, and he was great on stage. Tug, he would do things like, I can't tell you the kind of things we do on stage, but if you can imagine the worst thing possible that you could do in front of an audience, we do those. Tug would do those kind of things. And he did the same things with Roth, too. And he was such a great guy to have on stage, as well as just hang with. And we certainly hung out a lot on the bus. And for those of you girls lucky enough to meet Tuggy, you will know what I'm talking about. And another band Tug played with, Whitesnake, played with all the big bands in the 80s. I must have missed the Whitesnake one, but he did play with Whitesnake. So we're going to play a Whitesnake song, and this, Tuggy was a great, like I said, a great keyboard player and a great singer, and he was so great at what he did that he was always in demand, never, ever not working. Jimmy Page from Led Zeppelin even loved Tug and brought him into a short band he had with David Coverdale and him and Jimmy. And Tug was, there's a great photo of Tug with Jimmy Page. And, you know, we loved all those big bands from England. And of course, Tuggy was picked up by, his talent was noticed by Jimmy Page, and he joined Jimmy on the road for quite a while, actually, Jimmy and David Coverdale. And this is Whitesnake from 1987, David's band. Whitesnake, Here I Go Again, 1987. I'm Rick Springfield, working class DJ, paying tribute to my sweet friend, Brett Tuggle, who passed away a few days ago and left a great mark on the world. I'm holding it together pretty well here, I think, considering this is usually a stupid, dumb, laughing show full of idiotic things, and I'm trying to keep it fairly straight here, although Tuggy was the first one to love a good joke. Now, Tuggy also played with Steven Tyler, again, another great artist that recognized Tug's amazing talent. Jamie's Got a Gun, eh? Yeah, that's the song we're going to play. And actually, my good friend Jim Valance, who wrote all of Bryan Adams' songs, told me a story that Steven Tyler came to Jim with this song. He said, I got this song called Jamie's Got a Gun. And Jim said, I had no idea what to do with it. So he passed on it. It's a weird title, but they came up with a great and very twisted meaning of the song. But it came out great. Anyway, so this is about Tug and not about Aerosmith. But we will say that it's an Aerosmith song, and Tuggy played with Steven Tyler, and this is Jamie's Got a Gun. I'm Rick Springfield, working class DJ, 80s on 8. There, I said it again. Of the most fun people to be on the road with are, 1, Brett Tuggle, and I'm sorry to say you missed your chance if you want to go on the road with Tuggy. Tuggy has moved on. He has gone home, and see if I can get through this without choking up. Went up and I said goodbye to Tug with my wife, Barbara, was there. She knew Tug. He was all over her back in Sound City days when she was working the phones, and we're all going, oh my God, who's that hot chick on the phone? And Tuggy, admitted, he was there too. So we went and said goodbye to Tuggy, and he'd already packed his bags. And so anyway, the two people fun to be on the road with were Brett Tuggle and Steve Lukather. Steve is out of his mind, basically. And another beautiful guy and incredibly talented. And Tuggy played with Steve Lukather, again, another incredible talent who recognized Tug's incredible talent. Steve and Brett, very similar people, great musicians, always up for a laugh. Okay, I talked about Tug's voice, and this is a live recording that someone grabbed back in 1983 when I was on the road with Tug. Actually, Tug, I remember I met Tug actually in, I think, 1980, and it was before, just as Working Class Dog was coming out and Jesse's Girl was just starting to go up the charts, and my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, Barbara, said, I'm looking for a band to put together, right? She said, you should really meet this guy. He's at Sound City, and he's got a great voice, and he's really sweet, and I think he'd be great for the band. So it was Christmas, and I remember that had my tree set up in my very first house I ever bought, and Tug came over, and we hit it off instantly. And then I heard his voice, and I went, okay, this is going to be a big score. Because not a lot of people, for non-singers, you don't understand that having a great voice for harmonies is like the key to the harmonies working. It's not just hitting a note. It's having a voice that cuts through. And our sound man all through the 80s was Bill Darlington. And when he came in to see our show, there was 20,000 screaming people, and I was dancing around like a clown trying to, be as entertaining as I could. He said, the only thing I noticed was Brett Tuggle's voice. And after me saying, well, thank you, Bill, you're not going to be hired because that's all you heard, you bastard, I realized, well, he's right. Tuggy's voice was an absolutely standout thing. And so this is Bill Darlington at the helm of the recording of this anyway. Well, no, I don't know who recorded this. Probably it sounds better than just some kid didn't have iPhones back then, some kid with a tape recorder. So it was probably recorded by a radio station. So it's in 1983, and thanks, Renata, for pulling this one out. I don't know where you found it, but thank you for it. And this is the high voice. This is me singing with Tug and my band live in 83, and the high voice doing all the wild screaming stuff that sounds like Paul McCartney is the great Tug. And this is the Little Richard song, Lucille, from 1983, and this is Little Ricky Springthorpe, your working class DJ on stage with Brett Tuggle. And that was all live too. I love live stuff when it works. It can be a nightmare sometimes if you're not feeling well and hit bad notes, but there was no bad notes in that song, I think, unless maybe from the sax player, Dave Adelstein. But he was another very talented guy. I have a lot of great talented musicians on the road, but there was no one more fun to hang with than Tug. And like I said, he could do double duty on guitar and keyboards, and also as your wingman. Tuggy was the best wingman ever. And one of the crew would say, God, Tug gets more girls than Rick does. He was, women love Tuggy. He was one of those guys you could never dislike. So Tug also hooked up with Fleetwood Mac. They saw Tug's great talent. And he also played with Stevie Nicks as her solo artist, and Lindsey Buckingham when he went out as a solo artist. And actually, Tug's very last gigs were with Lindsey on the road. And he wanted to play. He wanted to keep playing. And he would go out on the road with Lindsey, and it was difficult for him. He'd sometimes end up, in the emergency ward because it was very tough on him at the time. He was definitely not doing well, but he loved the road, and he knew that was a saving grace and something that would give him power and strength and give him something to look forward to with his battle with this damn friggin' disease. He played with Fleetwood Mac, he played with Stevie, and he played with Lindsey. And so, of course, we should play a Fleetwood Mac song. This is Little Lies from 1987. Tuggy joined Fleetwood Mac in 1997 as he started with Mick Fleetwood and Mick Fleetwood's band, The Zoo, right? Was it called The Zoo? Mick Fleetwood Zoo. And Tuggy joined that and then went to Fleetwood Mac through that connection, and then Stevie wanted him and Lindsey wanted him. That's how amazing he was. Everybody wanted Tuggy on the road with them. And anyway, this is Fleetwood Mac, 1987, Little Lies, and I'm Rick Springfield, paying tribute to my dear friend Brett Tuggle on SiriusXM 80s on 8. Like I said, Tuggy and I were giant Paul McCartney fans, and we flipped out when Paul McCartney put out an album, because his name was Tug. We call him Tug. Brett's nickname was Tug. And Paul McCartney put out an album called Tug of War. And we went, dude, he named an album after you. That's awesome. He may not have, but it was pretty cool. It's like him calling an album Rick. I would have gone, oh, thank you, Paul, for the nod. I understand you're a very huge fan, which I understand he's not, but obviously he's a friend of Tug's, or he knew of Tug, or maybe it's just the old English tug of war thing where you get on one rope and you pull one way and the other side pulls the other way, and you can see who can beat the other side. And that's kind of typical of English games like cricket, kind of pointless, not like great American games or great Australian games. But honestly, soccer was the coolest game of all time, and I played that as a kid, and we thank the Irish for that one. Have I wandered? Yes, I have. Have I wandered? Yes, I wander constantly. This is Tuggy Show, and this is Ebony and Ivory, and this song kept my song, Don't Talk to Strangers, out of number 1, the bastard. Paul McCartney and Stevie Wonder, Ebony and Ivory, from the album Tug of War. My tribute to Tuggy, just trying to show everybody what an amazing talent he was, and the memory of Tug is a beautiful guy with a giant talent. Go home or drive home or turn the radio off and keep singing this song. God bless Tuggy. May your spirit have a beautiful journey, and we will meet again. I am Rick Springfield, 80s on 8, SiriusXM. This has been the Tuggle story, the Brett Tuggle story. Hug your mom, kiss your dog, and hug your best friend.
Working Class DJ with Rick Springfield.